all right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the morning show. We got Steve Strazza in the house. We got myself, your host, JC Parets, Spencer Israel, fresh father. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's good. We're super thrilled for Spencer. He will be joining us at some point when things settle down in his household, and we're going to let him take his time. Those of us who are fathers understand the situation. So, Spencer Israel, we love you, bro. We're rooting for you. Hopefully, you make it through. It gets better. Just understand that, Spencer. It gets better. Guys, we got a great show for you today. You got the Nasdaq 100, basically only 2.3% from new all-time highs. S&P 500 also less than 3% from new all-time highs. We got Steve Strazza behind the scenes. We got Fonz on the ones and twos. We got Mary. We got Izzy. Hit it, baby. Let's go. All right, all right. We are back. I just want to say, man, I was in New York City yesterday. That city is alive and well, my friends. That city is alive and well. Remember, people were talking about the end of New York City and how all of this is over. I got to tell you guys, I was at the New York Athletic Club yesterday. First of all, what a beautiful building. I mean, wow. So much history. There's like trophies from bridge tournaments during the Great Depression in the mid 1930s. I mean, it. I hadn't been in that building. Man, I probably hadn't been in that building in over a decade. Last time I was there with John Roque, who invited me there for lunch, and I was wearing jeans and they didn't let me in. So that was the last time I was at the New York Athletic Club, and before that, I was there for a few events. Man, I love New York City for a lot of reasons, but there are some spectacular buildings. Some of the architecture, fantastic. So I just want to give a shout out to the New York Athletic Club. Um, listen, we've got some kids that we're helping out. These are kids that are athletic. They have all the talent in the world potentially to do great things, and we're going to be talking more about that and how we're helping some groups basically, help athletes or potential athletes from the age of 4 in the inner city and get them into good schools and help them with the NIL process and help them with the educational process, getting the SAT scores up. Really, really cool stuff. So I'm very excited about that. We got Steve Strazza behind the scenes. We got Izzy on the ones and twos. What do you say we do a little state of the markets, huh? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is great to be here live from Avalon, New Jersey. Great town, great town. We got the Dow futures doing nothing this morning. Let's see, flat across the board. S&Ps are flat, Nasdaq's flat, Dow's flat. Nothing at all happening. Literally, completely flat. Bonds, on the other hand, bonds absolutely ripping this morning. Up 0.75%, pushing 113. Had some great conversations about bonds yesterday at the New York Athletic Club with Peter Borish. Yes, I am name dropping. I am name dropping that I was hanging out with Peter Borish at the New York Athletic Club, disagreeing. No, I'm just kidding. Not disagreeing at all. We kind of agreed on everything, which is kind of a bummer. But that was really cool. Crude oil futures down 0.75%, just under 63. You got copper up 2/3%, 486. You got gold flat, 33.77. Silver down 0.5%, 34.5. With the VIX flat this morning, back under 18 for the volatility index. Of course, over in funny money land, let's see. We got Bitcoin down 480 points, just under 105,000. Ethereum 26 and a quarter, up 1% this morning. You got Solana 156, pretty much flat on the day with the total crypto market cap. Spencer Israel, if you're out there listening, that is 3.26 trillion. 3.26 trillion for the total crypto market cap. So guys, I think that it's important to start I think it's important to start with just how close these indexes are to new highs. If you will, Izzy, can you throw up that slide too there? I feel like people don't realize just how close these indexes are to new all-time highs. You're talking about the end of the United States. What do they call it? Exceptionalism, right? US supremism, right? 15 years of United States outperformance over the rest of the world. That certainly changed in Q1. You had the widest dispersion amongst returns between the United States and international ever in the first quarter, with a massive outperformance internationally as the US dollar got smoked. Massive rotation there. I got to tell you, S&P 500 less than 3% from new all-time highs. NASDAQ 100 basically 2% from new all-time highs. One good day puts it there. Right? I'm not saying that the S&Ps are going to rally 3% or the NASDAQ's going to rally 2%, but they could. They could certainly do it in a week, maybe a few days. I mean, we're right there. We are right there pushing up against new all-time highs. And I got to tell you, I've done the work. I've done the work, folks. I've looked back at every bull market in history. And I would encourage you to do the same. And one thing you'll find in these bull markets is the major indexes make a lot of new highs. A lot of new highs in bull markets. Not a lot of new lows. Not a lot of new lows. You don't get to new all-time highs by making a lot of new lows there, Mr. Strazza. Do I have that right?
Is that what happens in bull markets?
I mean, I don't know why people want to pretend that it doesn't. Why do you think that people look at all-time highs and they're like, oh, this is the top? Why do you think people understand history and then choose to ignore it and convince themselves that this time is different because they don't like the orange man, or they don't like how much ketamine Elon Musk is doing, or they don't like the Powell guy, or the Bessent? There's a Bessent now. What's Bessent? Is he a Treasury Secretary or is he the chairman of Federal Reserve?
Treasury.
This Bessent. And I imagine that he comes from, I don't know, I'm going to throw it out there. Is he a ex-Goldman guy?
I believe so.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Why are all the Treasury Secretaries ex-Goldman guys? Is that like a thing?
They're really good at it. Where was he? No, Soros. Soros Fund founded Key Square Group. Yeah.
So not an ex-Goldman guy.
Nope.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, I don't know his full background, but
quick search. And Strazza, I know you look at a lot of charts. Did you realize S&Ps and NASDAQ were this close to new all-time highs?
I did. Some sectors are already leading there. We got excited last week. Industrials tagged a new all-time high. Might have been 2 weeks ago now, actually.
New all-time highs in industrials. Is this surprising that industrials are making new all-time highs, considering how well France and Germany are doing, that are dominated by industrial stocks?
Nope. Makes a lot of sense. We were talking about that on our analyst call, about how, if industrials is the bet that you want to make, just own the international indexes, not the US ones, right? They got a lot of good industrials. Oh, and he's gone. But I think the big risk today, what I'm watching today, is these flags. Because yesterday it looked like, and God, I can't tell you how many charts look like, Wells Fargo right now, or Micron in these tight little flags, and they appear to be resolving higher. What you don't want to see is all of these patterns that look just like this in the S&P 500. If you go look at IWM, the Russell 2000, looks the same. Go look at ARC, it looks the same. These flags are everywhere. They have to resolve higher. They have to be valid upside resolutions. What you don't want to see is them come in and hit the market just as these patterns are starting to go, and some big failed moves, right? So I think that's the risk today. Gotta have a green day out here. I think that's critically important to these short-term coils. Green day or bust.
Are you too young to listen to Green Day? Did you ever buy the CD Dookie? Wasn't that the name of the album, Dookie?
Oh yeah, very familiar.
Yeah, you're not too young for that?
That was my time, sir.
Do you have the time?
Yeah, right.
Why did that guy have to make such weird faces? Like in Spanish, we call them muecas. He would make these muecas, and then he would be eating the microphone. Do you have the time? Well,
I think it was just the times. There was a lot of that. Punk rock was really in for a while.
Do you think that he's that they're technical analysts behind the scenes? That's why they call it Green Day? No.
Probably not.
Probably not. Probably not.
I was
I gotta
talking.
tell you, Strazza, bro. I kind of crushed it yesterday. I brought the house down.
Yeah, tell me about the panel with Mike Martin and Peter.
Dude, we got
Is it
great
good?
feedback. I was
It's
just giving them the hits, I was giving them the classics,
sure.
and you give the people what they want, and they're into it.
You you played JC's greatest hits yesterday.
I played the greatest hits. I
Nice.
mean,
You got
I'm
it.
at the
That's what they want to hear. That's what they come out for, right? That's what
dude.
the
I
people
got
are there
asked
for.
about bonds. Like they're like, oh, JC, bonds, and then Peter Borscht was going on and on about
Yeah.
DC and interest rates, and they're like, well, JC, so how do you feel about bonds? And I just like sigh, and it was like so from the heart. Like I didn't even like plan this. It was like so from
Yeah.
the heart. And I just gave. I was like with a microphone in my hand. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
bonds. Right? I
What is
just gave
there
him
to
one of
say
those,
about
dude. The whole
bonds?
place was laughing because everybody was like this, like joint, like I get where
Everybody
you're, I
feels
get where
that.
you're at, JC.
Everybody feels that about bonds. You get mad at me sometimes. I call them boring, but it's like
Bonds.
fucking bonds.
I've been
What did
I've
you
been
say?
thinking about bonds for so many years. My
So what did you
wife.
say about bonds? I own some bonds right now.
Well, I
Looking
brought it back
good.
to multiple time frames.
Yeah.
Speaking of giving them JC's greatest hits. So Peter Borscht was talking about a secular shift in rates and how expect rates to be going up for quite some time, and it's a different
Yeah.
regime and all that stuff. And I have a hard time disagreeing with that. Like
No, there's
that's
evidence there. There's
for
evidence
sure.
there of a structural trend reversal. Fine.
For sure. And I told him, I said, this is like all like suit and tie, like super like, fancy. Like this is fancy. This isn't like,
Intimate though, right? Small room or big room? Like
dude,
size wise?
there were like, I think 700 people,
Oh wow. I didn't know it was
and you needed $1 billion in order to get in. So
it's
you have
like
to
one
be,
of the Trump parties.
well, you don't need $1 billion net worth. You need $1 billion in assets.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So it was like, it was like a legit crowd, like a lot of portfolio managers, a lot of like CIOs and stuff like that. Like, every firm there was represented. It was a good showing. Like seriously, it was impressive. And the building's sick, dude. So
Okay.
anyway, I wasn't disagreeing with Peter Borscht about the long-term rates and the shift. I was saying, I think it's entirely possible. Number one, number two, it's
Borish's
probably there's
Borish's
probably a
view.
higher likelihood of him being right than wrong, right?
Well, hold on. Borish's view is that we're in a new rising rate regime just
Yeah.
started a few years ago, right?
Right. But then I said, now let's keep this in mind. What I think happens over the next decade has zero impact on what I'm doing this quarter, right? And we want to
Yeah.
make money this quarter. So I zoomed in and I'm like, look at rates over the last couple of years, kind of just
Did
in
you
the
say scoop
sideways
and score?
range.
Did you say scoop and score?
I did not use the word scoop and
Oh.
score. Like it wasn't that kind of crowd, Wasn't that
Yeah,
kind of
I
crowd.
wouldn't have got it.
They
Yeah,
wouldn't
fine.
have got it. And then we have to go into this whole explanation. It wasn't the right
No
time
faux
for that.
show. No faux show, bro. No Kardashian bottom.
None of
None of
that.
that. None
No,
of that.
no, none of that.
Kept it classy. Good.
Yeah, you gotta keep it classy. I was wearing a tie, dude.
You had a
I was
tie
wearing
on.
a
Yeah, no,
tie.
I
I
saw a
had a
picture.
tie.
Saw that.
I had a suit on. I was wearing my Ferragamos. Man, I haven't put on those
Wow.
Ferragamos in a minute. I don't wear Where am I
Wow.
going to be dressing? No, that's not true. I think I
Fancy
wore them on
JC.
Easter. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, just because that we think that there's a massive secular shift in rates, and that's probably the case. Like we're trying to make money this quarter, and over the last couple of years, rates have been range bound, and the stock market likes that, putting up banner
Yeah.
years again and again and again. And this year,
Sure.
whether Americans like to hear it or not, this is another banner year for equities. Just because your U.S. stocks are underperforming doesn't mean it's not banner. First half of the year. I mean, just epic returns across the board.
It's been good.
Yeah. So
Been good.
that's how it went. We just got great feedback from everybody. People, there are people there who, unfortunately for them, don't watch the morning show, so they don't know, right? So now they know.
Yeah. Did you tell them about the morning show? Did you tell them what we do?
We didn't get into all of that.
Wow.
We didn't get into all of that. It was more like it was like a networking thing and like charity stuff, and we're going to be doing a lot. By the way, I think we're definitely putting out an event in New York Athletic Club. Definitely.
I was talking to Mike about that. Yeah,
Yeah. They're like,
I'm
"Oh,
in.
JC, we should put on an event at the New York Athletic Club. What should we do?" I'm like, "I don't care what we do. I just want to do something here." Dude, this building is so sick. Like, it is beautiful, man. Like, and there's just so much history in there, and it's all about like sports and like, oh, fantastic. Dude, the billiards room. I took pictures. I got to share pictures, dude. The billiards room at the New York Athletic Club. I had never seen that room before. Man,
I've
what
never
a
been
rich mahogany, leather bound books.
there. Nice. That's funny.
No, it was
All right.
awesome.
What do you got your eyes on today? You think copper's about to break out?
I who are you? Like,
What?
seriously, what happened to the chief YOLO officer? Now we're here talking about copper.
Well, you got to zig when they zag, JC, and everybody's out here buying the speculative growth stocks now. So yeah, I think commodities are looking better and better by the day.
We got Broadcom after the bell. Do I have that right?
Yeah, and the stock has been an absolute monster. This is your semiconductor leader. Forget Nvidia. Nvidia's got some catching up to do, but it's been all Broadcom, really, for over a year now. So new all-time highs. Looks great. That'll be a big report.
Broadcom hitting, and then so I mean, earnings after the bell. They got to stick it.
Nvidia is still up. If you measure it from last week, almost 5%. From the day before its report or the day of its report before it reported. So that's not bad. And I think Broadcom probably tops that. Broadcom's going to be ripping out here. This is
I
the
was
best Mag 7. This is the
I was
best Mag
on
7. Huh?
I was on basic cable television yesterday talking about Broadcom.
Fox? Charles?
Dude, my father-in-law loves Charles Payne. Like, loves him. Like,
You
my
must be so
father-in-law
proud.
thinks Charles Payne is like the most hilarious guy ever, right?
He
My
must be so
father-in-law is
proud
one of
when he
those like
sees your
Fox
face.
watchers. You know
Yeah.
how Shane Gillis, right? That comedian,
Mhm.
and he's always making fun of his dad who sits around watching Fox from like Central PA.
Dude, I
He's always
know it.
making
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was
Oh,
always
I know.
ripping his father. It's hilarious.
No, he
Anyway,
has good
I think
comedy.
my father-in-law and Shane Gillis's father would probably get along great.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Fox News.
So I'm like, yo, Charles, like after the segment, I was like, dude, my father-in-law loves you. He thinks you're hilarious. Can you say hi? And like I put a video and I made Charles do like a video in between like during commercials.
Yeah,
Dude, my father-in-law was like over the moon. He was like,
that's
"Oh
so
my
cool.
God, Charles knows who I am." Charles like invited him to the studio. He's like, "Next time JC's here, come with him." And now my father-in-law's running all over Avalon, being like, "Charles Payne invited me to the studio."
That is funny. He'll probably go. That's awesome.
Dude,
What'd you
he'll
talk about?
definitely go.
What'd you talk about with Charles?
We talked about extreme sentiment unwinds.
But
We
they're
talked
bullish. Aren't
about
they bullish? Aren't they bullish now? Like, what's sentiment looking like?
who's they.
The people in the polls.
Yeah, but Strazza, like you have to understand, like we're coming off some of the most historic pessimistic levels in American history. Like this
Yeah,
unwind ain't gonna take 6 weeks, right?
that was
Like,
bad. That was bad data. Market went down for a couple days. It wasn't more bearish than the financial crisis. Don't you think you should stop looking at polls that told you things were worse than they were in the financial crisis a couple months ago?
no.
Don't
So
don't you think
from
we should just throw
extremes,
those out? We could throw those out forever now, right?
you're
Like just
welcome. You're welcome to do
remove
whatever it
them.
is that makes you happy, whatever weird fetish you have of throwing out sentiment data,
How
like knock
bad is
yourself
that?
out. But for
How
those
bad
of
was
us, well, those of us who are
that?
here to
What
make
did-
money in markets and observe the behavior
Yeah,
of human beings, we
right.
are acknowledging that we are coming off some of the most historic pessimistic levels of all time. Whether it was worse in the great financial crisis or not is not the point. We're coming off historic extremes in sentiment. And at the end of the day, if I've learned anything, and this is a lesson for all of you guys listening out there, this is a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. It's sometimes you just got to be greedy, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I have taken profits too soon when some of these sentiment unwinds get going, and god damn it, I'm not doing it this time. I'm not doing it this time. I have irresponsibly long positions that are disproportionate to my overall portfolio, and my position sizing has gotten to levels that I am somewhat uncomfortable with. I got delta ones across the board. I got in the money shit left and right, and I'm not pulling back. Right? Go big or go home. Like, what are we doing here? You
What?
think I want to be
So
trading to make 15%? Get the fuck out of here. Let's
no,
go.
no,
So I think
yeah,
there's times to be defensive and there's times to be greedy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that in my experience. And I think that this is one of those
I agree.
times that I want to be greedy,
No, I totally agree.
you know?
There's different playbooks for different environments, and you should act accordingly. I like
Yeah.
that. Well, are
People are
you
like, oh,
leaning?
being greedy is bad. Yeah, I don't think
Are you?
so. I think there's times
are-
that you need to be greedy.
Yeah, no, of course. So you're leaning into the risky stuff.
I mean, I was a month ago, month and a half ago, where I'm just hodling, if you will, right? I'm just hodling for now. And listen, a lot of people like to talk about risk management. I'm one of those people. And there's the way I look at it, and Strazza, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. There's nothing wrong with losing money, right? Losing money on a trade. It's gonna happen all the time, right? Nothing wrong with that. Nobody's upset about that, right? That's part of trading, and
Never
anybody
learned
who's
more from something in my life.
I'm sorry,
I've never learned more from something in my life.
trading.
No, losing money
Yeah.
specifically.
But here's the thing: losing money's fine. It's when you nail it and you nail the entry, you nail the position size, you get everything right, and if you don't make enough money when you nail it, that's the problem, right? That's what pisses me off when I nail it and I didn't make enough money. Well, I'm here to say that right here, right now, I'm not letting that happen. I'm not letting that
No,
happen.
as we like to say, you make hay while the sun is shining, my friend, because it won't be shining all the time. It's a very rainy day here in the Florida Keys, right? Wish the sun was shining. Can't make hay today. So
Eat
take
while the
advantage of these
eating is
times.
good. Is that what you say?
Hmm.
Eat while the eating is good.
Yeah, man, get it. I took some profits in some things yesterday. You want to know what I had to sell?
Yeah,
These new
talk to me.
nuclears. These new nuclears. They're reporting, just the best news ever. Kenny's on vacation. The best news ever, day in and day out. And yesterday, Constellation announced like a 20-year deal with Facebook. Look at the CEG candle.
Oh yeah, I was with Patrick yesterday at the athletic club, and he was telling me
Can't have
something
that.
about that.
Can't have that.
Can't
Done.
have Patrick at the athletic club.
No, oh, he went. Patrick
Yeah,
went.
he was
Was he
there.
good? Okay, great. No, you can have Patrick at the athletic club.
I
You
was a
can't.
special guest. So special guests, Steve, get privileges. Some of
Special
those
guests
privileges involve bringing some friends.
can bring special guests. Got it. Great. No, CEG, just look at the candle. That's what you can't have. On great news, a reaction like that, no thank you. And then some of the new nuclears looking a little sketchy here too.
So basically, they filled that gap from back in January on the CEG, right?
Yeah. But then it really failed at like those old highs. And you're seeing similar stuff. If you look at the Oki low, I got out of the Oki low too.
And by Okilo, you mean OKLO?
Yeah. Yep. And I'm watching SMR close today because I just hate giving my money back. And that
This
one's
Oklo looks
teetering.
a lot like Hims, doesn't it?
Hims had a nasty reaction yesterday too. So you saw this. I'm big tape. I'm big tape. So you saw this across the board yesterday, where stocks that had some of the best news and were up the biggest pre-market ended the day with these nasty giant red candles. I hate to see that. So I'm watching closely today, and that's why I'm a little bit skeptical. We put like 4 trades on yesterday. We really went for it. But that's why I'm a little bit skeptical of these bull flags that look like they were resolving higher yesterday because some of this intraday action, no bueno. So very interested in the tape here this morning. We'll see. See what we got. See what we got. This will be exciting.
Talk to me about crypto. Um,
Nothing. Nothing going on. They can't break out of their coils either. In fact, if you look at something like Solana or Ripple or some of these other alts, almost looks like they broke down from mini coils. So things are holding in. You got a lot of VWAP pinch situations going on where
and then
we
why don't you explain to the folks what a VWAP pinch is for those who might be unfamiliar?
VWAPs, think of it as dynamic levels of interest, right? And then you could anchor them from highs, and they'll come in and give you like dynamic potential resistance zones. And if you anchor the VWAPs from pivot lows or lower ends of some sort of range or something, then they'll come in and they'll show you dynamic potential support zones. And the problem with cryptos right now is they can't get above the top lines and they can't fall below the bottom one. So we're kind of just stuck here in this consolidation phase still.
We got a great question from Mark. Mark JC, what are you doing to try to maximize your profits when you do hit the trade? Well, I don't necessarily think that being greedy and hodling and really not feeding the ducks is appropriate for every environment. In this case, my suspicion is it is, and so I'm uh, I'm being greedy with intent, right? I'm intentionally doing this. And what am I doing? I am not taking profits yet. I've got options that expire in July. So once we
You're
start
starving
getting
the
in,
ducks.
I'm starving the ducks. I
He
love
hates the
that
ducks.
phrase, boy.
Yeah, me too.
But I've got options that expire in July. I've got options that expire in October. So I'm not worried so much about the October ones, but the July ones is really where my focus is. Once we start getting in that 30-day window, which is going to be
Yeah,
like next week sometime, late by the end of next week, then I'm going to start thinking about taking those off the table, maybe rolling them into later expirations later on in the year. And this is particularly in the speculative growth areas
yeah.
where I'm doing my hodling.
So what's the matter? You don't like the copper?
No, 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 no. That's not it. I was just laughing at you because you're like Mr. like Chief YOLO officer, and every day you're telling me about fucking the dong and
Yeah,
Philippines, and saw
yeah.
the dong hitting new lows. Um, Once again, proving without a shadow of a doubt, the short dong is better than a long dong.
Well, you got to look out for that dong because Vietnam is the top performing country in the world over the short term.
And by the
Nobody,
short term, you mean what?
one
Over what
month,
period?
1 month, nothing is done better than Vietnam. We have a table. Would you like to see it?
I would love to see the
Want
table. I would love to see the table.
to see my table?
Show me the table.
All right.
Show me the table.
We talked a lot about international stuff yesterday with Todd Zone.
I missed that interview because I don't know if you heard. I was
Yeah.
at the New York Athletic Club with Peter Borish. No big
No,
deal.
I didn't. Tell me about it.
I was thinking to myself, I'm there on stage. I'm like, shit, I must have done something right. And I even said it like in front of everybody. I was like, look at me here on stage with Peter Borish at the New York Athletic Club. How you doing? Wearing a suit and tie, huh? Right? Little name
I
drop
saw
there.
you
No
in your
big
tie.
deal.
You looked great in your suit, by the way.
Did I look good? All right.
Fantastic picture of you three. Yeah. All right. Look,
Because my
JC,
wife
Vietnam.
sometimes when I don't dress appropriately, she's like, "Why are you wearing that? I buy
No,
you
we
such nice
we
clothes, and that's what
no,
you
we've already
wear."
talked about this, so I'm not going to compliment you anymore. But you're really putting on your big boy pants and stepping up your wardrobe game lately. Everybody was talking about you at Portfolio Accelerator. You look so good.
Man, you need to really tell my wife that because she'll never believe me.
Show her this
You
clip.
look ridiculous. I just buy you such nice clothes.
Uh, no, you're the
All
talk
right,
of the
talk
town.
to me. So here, Vietnam. So this
Yeah.
goes back. This goes back how long? We're talking about a year to date percentage.
Look at that last column. Okay. We're above
Oh,
all
1 month
major
versus principal. Got
VWAPs
it.
now too in NAM. So this is just really exciting. You can go back, drop WAPs from like anywhere. Go back to the 2018 highs, pretty much there. Go back to the COVID lows, taking out VWAPs left and right here in the VNM. So I really like the way things are setting up, not just in Vietnam, but really in all of Southeast Asia. I think the other countries follow soon. Also have a big position on like Thailand and Malaysia. I think those will follow. And the Philippines, EPHE has a really, really nice base. A lot going on overseas. I'm Asia over Europe. So, I'm a little weird. I think I'm early, but I am. I'm Asia over Europe at this point.
Patrick yesterday asked me one of those like Mary Kill Fuck things
You keep
about
you keep you keep thinking about
Asia,
this. Yeah.
Latin America, Europe,
This keeps coming up. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Asia, Latin America, Europe.
Hmm.
Mary Kill Fuck, right?
Got it.
Or more
Got it.
appropriately, cut, bench, start.
Hmm.
Um, Mine is Asia, Latin America, Europe. This
No,
is
I would.
through the end of the year. Asia, Latin America, Europe. How do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
no. I would see. I'm looking at it differently. I would marry Asia because I like them long time. Okay. I would goodbye Europe
Did you just
because
say that you love them long time?
yeah,
Nice.
Goodbye Europe, because no need, long term, no need for Europe. There's just nothing there. I could buy industrials and financials here, and then I'm gonna trade the hell out of Latin America because there's just so much juice there. So that's right. Feel me? That's it. That's the answer. Go trade some real.
Man, you have said the word real more in the past 2 months than the entire time that I've known you.
Brazilian small caps are up. Let me see now, 30% from the April lows.
Dude, how about that Cosby, man?
We
Dude,
got to go to
shout out
Colombia.
Korea.
We got to go to Colombia and see if this bull flag is going to resolve higher. Why? What is going on over here? Peru, new highs. Do you see Peru? Are you in the BVN? Peru has one of the nicest bases you'll find, by the way. The IPU.
Dude,
Some
I
of
was
these.
I was this close last week to buying BVN, and I'm like, it's a little cute. I want to see how they consolidate, and that thing just ripped in my face, man.
You know, Also really nice being an individual investor because some of these funds aren't too liquid, but they're liquid enough for me.
Haha, nice. No, it's true. It's
BVN looks
true.
great.
You see Pakistan this morning?
I did not. No.
New
What'd
all-time
you say?
highs.
The pack?
New
Wait,
all-time
there is no
highs for
pack.
the Karachi 100 index. This is over in the Pakistan Stock
JC,
Exchange. Shout out Karachi, hitting new
JC,
all-time highs.
I'm just now noticing they delisted the pack like over a year ago.
Those a pack. Those a Pakistan ETF.
PAK. Yeah, the pack.
So Kospi over in Korea. Shout out Korea. I was talking with Sam Rowe. Speaking of Korea, earlier this morning, Sam Rowe, one of my favorite people in the world. Yeah, he's smart and puts out great content and everything like that. But man, can he pick a Korean barbecue place? Huh.
South Korea looks great.
We got to get Sam Rowe on the show. We got to get
Look
Sam
at
Rowe on
you
the
all.
show to talk about Dom's Bogan, JC's favorite Korean barbecue place. I like dream about it at night. Like it is so good. Next time
Uh,
we're in the city, can we go?
no, I want to go. I'm into Korean barbecue. We really don't have that
Oh,
down here.
so good.
TT, new in Brazil. So he's talking about new holdings, new bank.
Yeah.
Yes. But I like Stone even more. STNE is
You
really
like Stone over Pags?
dude, Stone looks so good. Pags is actionable here. Like I like Pags off this level. I added some last week, right around here. So I like Pags for that reason. But Stone has been the short-term leader. STNE looks really good.
And you're
That's gonna
getting crazy short interest out of Brazil,
yeah,
right?
dude.
So if you're looking for exposure there. So what do you like the Stone? So if you take the anchored VWAP back from the what? These are the December 23 highs. That gets you I mean, that anchored VWAPs are just under 13, right?
Yeah. I think you'll get ultimate confirmation though that the base is breaking out with that VWAP from the all the way back to the prior cycle highs. That's not until about 16, but we look like we're resolving this coil and going there right now.
And you're talking about the 2021 highs, right?
Yeah, and then this starts to look like do we have the chart funds? We probably have this chart handy. This starts to look like then one of those crazy arky bases, JC,
Yeah.
where like you would have to climb 500% just to get back to those prior cycle highs. Not saying it will or has to or needs to. You could have a great trade if it makes it halfway there. So,
And
but by the
what
way,
is Stone?
I should qualify that statement with guess what? A lot of those arky bases that people laughed at, oh, they got to go 500% to get back to those prior cycle highs like last year and the year before. They're already well on their way. If you look at something like C Limited, up 4x already and still has another couple 100% to go, right? So, like, it's happening out here with the good ones, the best ones already. StoneCo is some sort of software. These are both fintechs, I believe.
Here, throw up
You also
uh
have XP out there, which looks really good too, the XP.
Izzy, can you throw up slide 2 there for me, please? So this is Stone Co. This is Brazilian. Is it software?
Yeah, something like that.
And then look at that comparison with the ARC.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Can't see it.
Software infrastructure. Software infrastructure. So I mentioned, I was talking about the sector culprits. Gave Ari Wald a shout out yesterday at the New York Athletic
Yeah.
Club when I was with Peter Borsch. I don't know if you heard. Just me
Oh,
hanging out
really?
with Peter Borsch at the New York Athletic Club wearing suits. Had a tie on. It was great. You needed $1 billion to be there, by the way.
Yes, say
I
it
don't know.
again.
I don't know if you heard. And so I was talking about like the sector culprits and like dot-com bubble. It was the tech stocks and great financial crisis. You had the homies and the financials, and then in 21 it was the Arky stocks, right? And the Kathy Wood stocks, right? And like I wasn't like trying to like hate on her. I was just kind of like expressing, the arkiness of those names, right? And man, the whole crowd erupted. They thought it was like the funniest thing because they thought I was ripping her.
Yeah,
Uh,
you guys always rip on Kathy Wood, and I think it's the coldest take. I think it's a terrible take.
I'm not ripping on her at all. In
All
fact,
you guys are all
Josh,
very hard on her,
no,
and it's ridiculous.
nobody's hard on her. She lost more money for investors than anybody in the history of the ETF
Dude,
business. That's not my
that's a
fault.
function that's a function of math. It's because she had the
Nobody's
money.
hating on her. I have no
Yeah, but
problems
that's
with
a
her. In fact,
ridiculous stat. That's an
okay, well,
unfair statistic.
I'm sorry that you don't like math.
That's a
So, Josh,
misleading statistic.
okay, fine. Josh Brown, in his latest book, what is the name of his latest book?
I have it right here. Hold on.
What is it called? You weren't supposed to see that. That's right. And I got 2 quotes, and I got quoted twice in that book, by the way. 2 times, Strazza. I don't know if
Sure.
I don't think you got quoted in the book though.
Okay.
I got quoted twice, and I even got a thank you shout out at the end. And in the book, he actually gets her back, and like
Yeah.
he's like people hate on her for no reason, and
Josh
it's
gets it, man.
no,
Josh
Josh
gets
was
it.
giving her Josh was
Okay.
giving her props in that book, giving her some love. He had her back, and I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm not hating on anybody. Yeah. But for the record, Kathy Wood is on the board of the company that acquired my company over 3.5 years ago. And I'm still a big shareholder in that company, and she's on the board. So like I'm rooting for her. Come on, Kathy. Hey, show me the money.
No, listen, it's tough doing what she does. And I'm a fan because I love the information. I love the information that we get, and I do believe there are some excellent stock pickers over at ARC. We're working very hard to try and find some of the best or spiciest growth stories sometimes in these really niche megatrend type of areas, and that's cool. Glad somebody's out there doing the work. It's tough work, JC, to dive into these companies. You learn so much, you fall in love with them, right? You fall in love with a good fundamental story. You start ignoring the market. Market starts screaming at you, "You're wrong," right? Stocks making new lows. You're like, "No, no, no," but they're going to the moon or they're curing cancer, right?
And
So the fundamentals,
in some cases, like literally going to the moon.
they can really break you. The fundamentals, they could really fuck you up.
I
So
know that's why I ignore them altogether and pretend that that's not happening. So yesterday I was busy with being on stage with Peter Borish at the New York Athletic Club wearing suits
how
and
much money
ties.
did you need? How much money did you need to get in there?
$1 billion,
Really?
asked us
Wow.
to be able to get in. And so and then I went on TV, big TV star over here, no big deal. And then so Patrick and I are drinking champagne over at Del Frisco's.
God.
And
Uh-huh.
so I was busy yesterday.
Yeah.
Doing like important people stuff, right? One day
I heard
maybe
I
you'll
heard there was tequila involved. Was there tequila in the mix at some point? Maybe not for you?
Um,
No?
I mean, I did have a margarita before I got on the Uber back to the beach.
Oh,
But I don't think I told anybody that.
okay.
So I don't know how you know that.
Alright. Okay.
Um,
I hear things.
I guess I was by myself. I don't know who knew that, but okay. I bet you caught me. I did have a margarita before I got on the man, and
Oh,
had
that's
some
funny.
shitty tacos. And I was talking to a Mexican guy. I was a Mexican bartender, and
Mhm.
I was like, these aren't very good at all. He was like, I know, dude, I know.
Why did you have bad food? You were in New York City.
Well, to be honest with you, I went into the Mexican restaurant just because I had to go to the bathroom, and I went, and then I kind of
He was
felt bad, so
jonesing for a marg.
I pretended to like look at the menu, be like, "Oh, I'm not just using your bathroom," and
You're
then I
right.
started looking at the menu. I was like, "Ooh, they
Yeah,
have
no.
tacos al pastor. I'm kind of hungry, and I got a long ride home. I mean, so
Gotta do
while
it.
I'm here,
I get it.
that's really the truth, if you
Say no
must know.
more. Been there.
So
Yep.
anyway, my point is I was busy yesterday doing very
Got it.
important things. And so I was not watching the tape and I was not as observant as you were. I was talking with, people who have, at least $1 billion in assets, right? Because you needed that there to be where I presented with Peter Borish on stage, wearing a
Right.
suit, the New York Athletic Club. And so since you were not there, and
Nope.
you had the
Was there.
ability to focus on the tape and what the market was like, what do you think someone like myself who was not as observant as you, what's the big takeaway from yesterday's tape?
Speculative growth sold off throughout the day. The best stories were completely faded to red, and then everything else looks to be resolving higher from short-term coils. That's why I think we're on failure alert today because of the back half action from yesterday. The tape deteriorated throughout the day with the riskiest stuff being hit the worst, right? Some of these things, dude, were down 10% intraday. If you look at something like CEG or NNE. So I just think we're on alert. Like they got to stick this move. They got to come out today and flip it back green. And you
Dude,
want to see
regional banks ripped yesterday, dude.
I got to sneeze.
Regional banks ripped yesterday. Small caps, new 52-week highs in terms of short interest. New 52-week highs for the Russell 2000 small caps. These things look great. Look at biotechnology, XBI. Look at regional banks, KRE. A quarter of the Russell 2000 is just those two groups, biotechnology and regional banks. There's like over 200 of each of them. So you got a monster percentage of the Russell 2000 index is regional banks and biotech. So I would highly encourage you to take a look at all of those. They look great. Regional banks looked great yesterday. So when you talk about, rough tape for speculative growth, giving some of that back, as a shareholder of Tesla, I did notice that happened yesterday in Tesla. Looked great in the morning, kind of gave some back. But regional banks ripping in the face of that of that fading, if you will, in the speculative growth area. And I'm totally JC sarcastic voice. KRE ripped. It was up 1.5%. Yeah, I mean 1.5% for a regional bank index. I mean that's in the face of an environment that speculative growth was kind of rolling over. And it wasn't just regional banks; it was small caps as an index. It was biotechnology. So no.
I bought some banks yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
Faisal said JC trying to change his background. That's because I'm at the beach.
Oh,
Faisal, I'm at the
shout
beach.
out Wells Fargo. Shout out Wells Fargo. Good news.
Yeah, what happened? I saw there was some things. Some things happened.
They were in trouble. They were in trouble, and they're not in trouble anymore. Did he just ask me what happened with Wells Fargo and then disappear?
No, I'm here. And what happened? What were they? What did they do this time?
They had some ridiculous like capital controls on them due to some sort of fraud from I don't know 4 or 5 years back. Remember when they were getting in trouble like left and right? It was bad back in like 2017, 18, 19. It was like day after day. Wells Fargo was in the news for something. So they had a bunch of restrictions on them that have now been removed. All this does for the banks when these stupid ass restrictions get removed, a lot of these financial crisis restrictions, when they get removed, all it means, the reason the stocks go up is dividend go up, buybacks go up. They could use more of the money that they make. These banks are making a ton of money out here. They're doing just fine, especially the big ones. They just can't use it. They're not allowed to use a lot of it. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Got it. So what? It was because they suck so bad at their jobs that they needed the governments to bail them out, and the government's like, if we're going to bail you out, we're not going to give you that money so you could pay each other bonuses and dividends and stuff like that. Is that basically what it was?
But dude, now they're first of all, they're all public. They're watched very closely. So it doesn't go to comp. It goes to buyback. It goes back to the shareholders. So that's what the government's ending up doing, just killing the shareholder return capabilities of these big banks.
And do you
punished for bad deeds from 2006 and 7 and 8?
So this punishment goes back that far?
Strazza, it wasn't stupid. Their dumb moves triggered the financial crisis. And now, there's no risk of a financial crisis. These companies' balance sheets are better than they've ever been. However, shareholders who had nothing to do with the financial crisis are being punished today. So is that fair? Is that fair? Does that make sense? Are they punishing the banks? Or are they punishing me and you with smaller dividends?
No, but the shareholders are the people that own the companies that suck. So the shareholders should be punished. I don't have a problem with that. I don't see that. No,
I don't think so.
And you're talking about you and me. You, Steve Strazza, have a choice as to whether you want to be a shareholder or not. So if you don't like it,
these restrictions that I'm talking about are no longer for the safety of the financial system. They're punitive. Okay, we're going on 20 years from this mess. I'm just
Can you
saying it's been enough.
I haven't taken an SAT in a long time, so I don't know what punitive is. Is that like a punitive damage? What does punitive
Yeah,
mean?
it's a punishment. It's a punishment.
All right. And that's not okay?
I think it's ridiculous. I'm a capitalist, so I'm not really okay with it. Maybe you are.
I mean, listen, if you were such a capitalist, then you should be a fan of them just letting a shitty company go in the first place and saying, "All right, fuck off. You suck. Goodbye.
Nope.
Take your horse and buggy and beat it." No? Isn't
I
that capitalism letting them go?
I think they had no choice and they did what they had to. And I
All
was
right.
also a fan of them bailing out the shit banks 2 years ago. I think if a bunch of idiots at a bank make a bad decision, that depositors shouldn't be fucked. This is
They
America.
should not
We
be
have
fucked.
enough money to safeguard against that shit. We have things like the FDIC. Let's use it. We have a ton of money. I don't think depositors should be hurt for idiot bankers. No.
Yeah, because think about it. Let's say you got $10 million, right? And sitting in cash, and you want what's FDIC is half a million bucks. So what
You're
so in order to do things properly and keep that $10 million insured and safe, you need to have 20 bank accounts.
it's like to join the
I mean, that sounds
developed.
pretty ridiculous. No?
Yeah, but this is one of those things that makes America so much greater than everything else. It's one of those things like to be a real developed nation, like you need property rights. Well, guess what? In America, your money's safe in the bank, and that's pretty freaking awesome. And I think we should protect that.
Yeah, I'm okay.
We should be proud of that,
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
right? I love money. It's safe here. That's great.
No,
Okay.
yeah, shout out America.
Uh,
You're gonna be really proud of me, Strazza. Is there
yeah.
the Ryder Cup? Is that coming up?
There is a Ryder Cup this year, but it won't be until the fall. Yeah.
I got a Ryder Cup USA hat.
Oh man, the Ryder Cup is a special sporting event.
I know.
Really, it's my single favorite sporting event. Probably it used to be the biggest tournament, but now it's the Ryder Cup. It's that good. It's really that good. So you're getting Ryder Cup gear now too?
Yeah, I got it online. The algorithms got me. They're like this guy's gonna fall for our ad, and he's gonna buy one of these hats, and they were right.
I have a Ryder Cup golf bag and Ryder Cup golf shoes.
I just like the USA. Like, I don't give a shit about
Yes,
the Ryder
that's
Cup. I
why
don't
I
even
have
know
it.
what the Ryder
Yeah,
Cup is, but I just kind of like the USA. Like, I'm a big like '92 Dream Team guy, so it
yeah.
kind of like reminded me of that. So it got me my inner child. You
No,
know?
I'm the same way. Big red, white, and blue guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Shout out America. Can we
hey,
do a little recess? We got to get back to
yeah,
work.
but 1 second, because recess is important today. But CrowdStrike, they're still actually paying for their bad deeds from last year. So I think this is something that the market should look through. I'm not going to be the one to determine, right? The market's telling me down 8% today, but they missed and they basically turned unprofitable on the quarter because they're still giving concessions, discounts to customers who were impacted by what was it that happened way last summer? Buy the tax or whatever, discounting. So that's gonna mess up their top line, but eventually that rolls off and that effect drops off. They can't be given discounts forever. So I think, yeah, one rough quarter, CrowdStrike bounces right back. Markets already kind of look through, but it's the same situation, still affecting the stock's result or the company's result. Now let's talk about the Knicks.
The New York Knicks.
Is So the Knicks fired the coach yesterday,
Again.
brought them to the semifinals. This is the first time, I don't know, since 2000 that the Knicks made it that far. They've been in the playoffs 4 of the last 5 seasons. This is one of the worst franchises in sports history. We
Yeah.
don't go to the playoffs. We never went to the playoffs. We didn't go to the playoffs for like 10 years before he came. And this is why the Knicks will always be bad. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. And people are out here like happy about it. Oh, this is New York. You can't not win the semifinals in New York. Dude, from where we came from to where we are now, how do you fire this guy? Blows my mind. What? It's New York? Tell me it's New York. Be one of those people. Oh, it's New York. You got to win in New York. Coaches get fired for going to the finals in New York. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I couldn't care less about the Knickerbockers or the Metropolitans or any of these franchises that all New Yorkers are always complaining about. I really couldn't give a shit at all. If anything, I like the Rangers because Cubans don't know anything about hockey, but I got invited to so many Rangers games over the years living in New York City that I kind of like the Rangers. But I still really don't give a shit about the Rangers either. I just like going to the games. Got invited to the Yankees game yesterday, turned it down. Turned down the Yankees tickets, legend seats right there, right behind home plate. Turned them down to play a round of miniature golf with my 4-year-old daughter. And
Smart.
great decision.
Smart.
Great decision. I'm like, am I really not going to the game to go play mini golf? Man, we had a great time playing mini golf last night, I must say. If you want to throw up a couple slides there, just to flex. Oh, there's me and Charles Payne. So my father-in-law loves this guy.
Did Pat come with
Hilarious.
you? Who was with you? Who'd you bring to the studio?
Pat. Just me and Pat mandate yesterday. Shout out Pat. You go to the next one there. So you could see there we got there it is.
Yeah,
There's the
it's a good
crew.
pick. Yeah, I like this.
So there's
Great.
myself, Mike Martin, Peter Borish, just a couple of guys talking markets, doing fancy things. Strazza doing fancy things. Look at that. I had a tie on. Look at that. Come on.
No, it's great.
Not bad, right? Not bad. Old man still got it. No big deal. No big deal. Dude, we're totally putting on an event at the New York Athletic Club. Totally doing it.
How much money did these people need to have?
$1 billion. $1 billion. So you were not invited.
Wow, it's a lot of millions.
Yep, it's about 1,000. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, 1,000 million.
Shit.
Yeah. I know math majors out there if you want to check on that. All right, just a quick check on the markets. Market's about to open up. Market's still doing nothing on the equity side. S&P is down. NASDAQ doing nothing. Bonds still up 0.2%. Oil flat. Copper up a little bit. Gold flat. Silver flat. So not much going on today, which is okay. It's okay. I want to give a shout out to Spencer Israel, new father. Big ups to Spencer. It's not easy those first few days. If you know, Strazza, maybe one day you'll see it. It ain't easy. It ain't easy. But it gets better. So we're rooting for you, Spencer. Glad to hear everybody's doing well. I want to give a big shout out to the Fonz. I want to give a shout out to Izzy. Steve Strazza, you did pretty well today. I'd give you a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Pretty good there. Pretty good. You did have some good charts.
I was carrying the show yesterday. I've been carrying the show all week.
No, you did a great job. Well, us important people were doing more important things. You really held it down, Strazza. You didn't get us canceled, so we got that going for us.
Once again.
Yeah.
Still not canceled.
No, listen, all joking aside, big ups to Steve Strazza. Another double coming out there on the breakout multiplier in silver. Don't think I missed that. Strazza. I see you, dog. I see you.
That's why we keep going back to the commodities.
We'll be back on the morning show tomorrow. Steve Strazza in Key West, myself in Avalon, down at the beach for the month of June. I really, really like it here. So maybe you and I will be here together. Maybe play a little golf, miniature and big boy golf.
Yeah, maybe soon. Planning my
all right, guys. I will see you bright and early tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. sharp. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you there.
Watch these flags today.
I can't take no